It's not all his fault. It is not all his fault. It started for me when I decided to leave 3.5 years ago. It started for me when I was so tired of asking myself, of telling myself, I deserve more. Do I deserve more? Of telling myself, it will be better next time. Of telling myself that, is it me? What do I need to change? Of looking around and realizing that unmet expectations and unmet needs and seeing what I wanted nowhere in my field of vision, nowhere around me, because I was too busy doing for others what they wanted. I was too busy trying to prove myself and convince others what they wanted when it wasn't even what I wanted. Enough. Enough. No more. I finally have allowed this part of me, this part that lives somewhere deep down inside of me that I didn't even know was wanting me to know this about myself, come alive. Come to the surface. This part of me that says it's time to know your truth. This part of me that says I have been here all along, showing you again and again and again that it's time for you to actually do something different. That it's time for you to actually change, to actually realize that you are in a pattern of stuckness, of numbness, of joy-sucking fakeness that is trying to keep you safe, and that feels familiar, and that is what you know comfort to be, but it is none of those things. Enough is enough. And this little bit of truth that came alive inside of me that I finally decided to acknowledge, that I finally decided to look at and say, what is it that you want of me? Well, when I decided to do that, it told me to sit down. It told me to sit down, it told me to listen, and it told me to open my eyes. And it asked, is what you see around you what you want? Is what you know in your heart in this moment the greatness of all that you know? Like, is that it? Is that your level of greatness that you're willing to accept? Because I see more. There's a part of me that is truth, that sees so much more for me than I allow myself to see. And so finally I said, enough is enough, and I meant it. How good would it feel to actually say enough is enough and mean it? And I have to admit something. It's not his fault. It's not all his fault. It's my fault. And in order to move forward, I need to forgive him because I need to forgive me. In order to move forward and not be stuck in this pattern, I need to say, I'm sorry to the parts of me that I no longer am going to follow anymore. And I need to look at him and say, I'm sorry for allowing you, for expecting you to help me in ways that I need to help myself. I'm sorry for giving you my power. That burden is too much. That burden is too high. And I want it. I take responsibility for my future, myself, my feelings, my truth. I take responsibility for my truth. It's not yours, it's mine. And when I take responsibility for my truth, you know what? I'll let you in on it. I'll let you be a part of it. Here's what I realized. I realized that I have a pattern of doing for others before I even ask myself what I want. I have a pattern of saying yes and jumping in with so much excitement because I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread without really understanding if it's something that I want to do. I have a pattern of committing to something before I really truly understand what the requirements are. And so I also have a pattern of denying the requirements or not digging in and choosing to be creative and prove myself in ways that are not expected or wanted. And those patterns are what leave me feeling rejected and worthless. Those are the patterns that my truth has put in my way again and again and again and again to say, wake up. To say, wake up, I'm here and I am trying my darndest to show you that there is a different way. There is a way that leads you out of this cycle and into actual joy, actual aliveness, actual change. Because this cycle that you're on right now, these patterns that you have in your life on repeat, they just keep going until you choose to break them. It's nothing external to you. It's your choice on the inside to listen to that part of you that's saying, wake up. It's you. It's for you to listen to that part of you that says, I am here and I am on your side. And do you know what that feels like? Do you know what that journey feels like? It feels like a big black hole. And you're deciding to leave this side of you that is all your old, comfortable, familiar patterns. And you look on the other side of you and you see a future of something that you truly desire and a way that you want to embody and be. And you are in the middle. I am in the middle. I am living in this gap. This is where I currently am, and maybe you are too. And the only direction I have is the commitment and the requirement to take the next step. But man, building this bridge as I'm on it, it is hard work. And the comfort and the familiarity of what's behind me is very enticing. And the opportunity and the possibility of what's ahead of me isn't always that alluring. And so here I am in this gap, wanting change, but feeling drawn backwards. And how is it that I choose to stay here until I am ready for the next step? This is a journey. This is a gap of light and dark. It's a gap of mountains and valleys. It is a gap of forwards and backwards. And it is a space where I have experienced nonlinear time in my most intense ways. This is a space where being present and in the moment is truly what matters. The awareness you have in the moment to not just go back to the way things were and to not jump ahead to what's forward, but to live right here, right now, and be here. And you know what? In this space, it's not all his fault. So forgive yourself and forgive anyone else you need to forgive. And take up your hammer and your nail and build your next step.